Pizzeria is a Las Vegas Eastside Barrio pizza pop-up shop, which was founded by U.S. Navy and Army veteran Anthony Rivera in 2024. As friendly and energetic pizza enthusiasts, they combine old school Neapolitan techniques with modern high quality ingredients to create hella good pizza. They're open 5 days a week, Wednesday through Sunday, for dine-in, pickup, and they offer delivery and catering for visiting families, large groups, sports teams, and parties. There is no longer a need to go through the hassle of getting your family or large groups to commute to a busy restaurant at a specific time just to be told you're on the waiting list, where you can get the best pizza on the east side of Las Vegas, prepped, baked, and served directly to you in the comfort of your home, Airbnb, or hotel. Please make sure you're following Neo Pizza's Instagram page at Pizza Neo Pizza to stay updated on their current menu selections, special events, and everything in between.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Word Around the Ring podcast. My name is Big Rob, and I'll let my tag team partner reintroduce himself.
I'm King Jess, and we're the only podcast stranger than a Mr. Iguana post match interview. Money in the Bank has come and gone, briefcases have been dealt, and the truth has been revealed. Big Rob is back this week, so Rob, what's been the word around the ring, brother?
It has been an interesting week, and I must say, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves here, but listen, I know you were excited when it was announced that Nikki Bella, your favorite twin, would be making an appearance on the most recent episode of Monday Night Raw following Money in the Bank. That happened this Monday, and of course, um, came out to cut a promo, um, and really hype up this other pay per view that they're building, the Women's Evolution pay per view that they had a couple years ago that they're doing a part two this year, which only involves the women's roster. So she comes out and she's giving women props, and this weekend was a crazy weekend for the WWE. They had Worlds Collide, they had Money in the Bank, and there was a couple superstars who wrestled on both shows. One of them being Stephanie Vaquer. And Nikki Bella is over here shouting out every woman on the roster. And gets around to shouting out Stephanie Vaquer. But instead of pronouncing her last name Vaquer, she says Vaque. And I could not believe what I heard. And it was so insane to me that this occurred. And I just found it really funny. So I wanted to highlight this because Stephanie did not deserve this. Stephanie just wrestled at Worlds Collide, put on a hell of a match there with Lola Vice, and then she went to compete in the Money in the Bank, put on a hell of a match there, just to get her name botched by a WWE Diva Hall of Famer, and I just found it crazy disrespectful. I had to bring it up before I forgot. But wanted to ask you any thoughts on your favorite WWE Diva butchering Stephanie Vaquer's last name this week on Monday Night Raw.
I mean, it's a little ridiculous, right? And I even said it when I heard it. I was like, "She's half Hispanic, brother. What the fuck are you doing mispronouncing Stephanie Vacker's name in such a horrible way to Stephanie Vacquay? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?" And then on top of that, I'm glad that Brie called her out because I guess they have a podcast. I've seen a little clip going around. Even Brie was like, "Girl, you are half Latina. How the fuck did he fuck that up?" It's disrespectful, especially for one of the biggest stars in the WWE right now to just go out there and completely botch your name. Now, I'm not gonna, sit here and play devil's advocate, but shit, maybe she did that shit on purpose. Maybe she sees a little bit of a threat in Stephanie Vaquer, and with her returning and not having that top spot, she's feeling a little self conscious. I don't know, bro. I'm just saying, she shouldn't have fucked up that name because it's not that hard to fuck up.
It's not that hard to fuck up, and I agree with you. You don't butcher a name like that. Like, I don't know. Like, again, she is half Mexican. Like, you got that. Like, you could have Stephanie back here. There was no issue. She decided Quay is crazy. You know her name. You know her name. She just wrestled on Friday, Saturday, twice on Saturday, and you know her name. Anyways, we're gonna not dive too deep into this. I'm sure Stephanie will see her at some point in the ring these upcoming weeks, because I'm sure Nikki Bella will continue to be on WWE television with the Evolution pay per view coming up. But speaking of women, want to talk about the first match at this year's Money in the Bank, which of course took place in Los Angeles, California, at the Intuit Dome Arena. But the first match of the night was, of course, the women's ladder match, the women's Money in the Bank match, with all the participants being Naomi, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Stephanie Vaquer. I believe one of your two of your favorites for this match were, of course, Naomi and Stephanie Vaquer. I had picked Roxanne Perez with a last minute pick, but I was confident in Naomi winning this, and I thought she was the right pick. And of course, we did find out that she was the winner of this year's Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, following a great. I really enjoyed the women's match. I think between this women's match and the women's elimination chamber that we most recently had, they've been killing these gimmick matches. They've been having a phenomenal run here, the women's roster has, and I'm excited to see what they do on Evolution. And maybe they have a Hell in a Cell match there as well, something of interest. We'll wait and see. But this match in particular, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. The way this match really came to an end, though, was Julia and Roxanne found themselves fighting at the top of the ladder. Until Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss were both able to take them each down, and that's when Rhea had hit a Riptide on Roxanne Perez, and Alexa Bliss had hit a Sister Abigail on Julia simultaneously while they stared at each other. Both women, Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss, then climbed up the ladder. They started to have a little bit of a fight up there as well, but that's when Naomi rolled back into the ring. She tipped the ladder, forcing both Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss to fall off, buying her enough time to climb up the ladder, retrieve the briefcase, and win the match. And she is this year's Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And that was a quick synopsis of the last couple moments of this match. But this match, all in all, was insane. There were some crazy spots. I know. I believe it was Roxanne Perez who hit Stephanie Vaquer with a code red on the ladder, which was crazy. Roxanne was taking a lot of bumps as well, but just overall an insane match that I thoroughly enjoyed. I wanted to get your thoughts on this match. Any spots that you really enjoyed or you wanted to call out that I may have missed? And how do you feel about Naomi being this year's winner? Do you think that was the right decision to be made here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think both you and me a couple of weeks ago had Naomi clear as day winning this thing, because we both think that one, she's deserving, and two, that she can carry that briefcase well and she could do something fun with it. So I am very glad that she won this. I did have Stephanie last minute just out of self bias, but I am glad that Naomi won it, and now I want to see what she does. I want her to, wrap that bitch up in cautious tape and go be a menace, because with this new heel Naomi, that's exactly what we've been getting. We've been getting this kind of, behind the scenes menace that just likes to terrorize everyone, and that's exactly what I want to see. I want to see her terrorize every champion she can, teasing that cash in. So her winning, 10 out of 10. This match was great. There were some spots in here. You mentioned like the in stereo code reds, one done by Roxanne and one done by Alexa Bliss on the ladders. That shit was crazy. But at the same time, that was one of my bigger problems with this match, is that there was a lot of in stereo, a lot of kind of like big gimmick spots with this match. We
Mhm.
got Stephanie Vaquer doing the devil's kiss on the ladders as well. And
Fantastic.
and just stuff like that. I'm not saying that was bad. I'm just saying, like, there was too many of these like big look at me moments, instead of kind of just letting everyone shine and letting the audience kind of pick where their eyes are going. So that was my only gripe with this match. Other than that, the ladies fucking killed it. Roxanne had an amazing first showing. For a big pay per view like this, I know that she was in Elimination Chamber, but this is a whole different game. Both of these matches take a lot of out of you, so I'm glad to see that Roxanne was able to hold her own. Alexa Bliss, another great return showing. She's been out of the game for a bit and she's slowly been coming back, but she looks phenomenal as well. Rhea was one of those people that was in this match that was just there for us to kind of get hyped, because I didn't think that she was winning. I still don't think that we should be putting her in a title contention just yet. She was in that title contention for a long time, and I think she deserves some time away from it. So I'm glad that she didn't win on this one. Stephanie, like I said, was my initial or my bias pick for the match, but at the same time, I don't want them to rocket her too quick. My bias would say that just fucking shoot her to the top and put a belt on her, but just like everyone else, you got to work your way to the top. So of course, I'd rather her gain some matches and gain some momentum to deserve that title shot than to just be giving it to her through a Money in the Bank. Overall, I'd say I'd give this match like a 4 out of 5 stars. I was thoroughly entertained, and these ladies just went out there and killed it.
Yeah, and then you brought up an excellent point as well, in regards to Roxanne Perez, her participating in the Elimination Chamber. Her and Alexa Bliss were the only two women who participated in both. And you mentioned that, like, Alexa is, she's recently returned at the Royal Rumble. Then she went on to compete at the Elimination Chamber. Now she's in the Money in the Bank match. She has wrestled a couple matches on regular WWE television like SmackDown, but she's been killing it. Both her and Roxanne, I think, have showed out at these last two, those pay-per-views at the Elimination Chamber and at the Money in the Bank. In regards to Stephanie Vaquer, we do have the Queen and the King of the Ring tournament. So if her losing this briefcase opportunity here results in her winning that tournament, the women in the Queen of the Ring tournament, that would be great. In my opinion, I'd love to see that. I can see it happening. But we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the episode. But all in all, I did really enjoy this match. I think the right decision was made with Naomi winning here. I'm intrigued to see when she's gonna cash this in on Tiffany Stratton, because it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen sooner rather than later, especially with the Women's Evolution pay-per-view right around the corner. I could see it maybe potentially happening there. I don't think that this one's gonna be too long of a wait. But I am excited to see what Naomi does with this briefcase, how she dresses it up. I'm sure she'll be putting that caution tape around it. But congratulations to her. I thought that was the right decision to be made. Roxanne Perez, I would have been okay with it as well. But I'm sure they have some big plans for her in store and everything she's doing with the Judgment Day and that Liv Morgan angle as well. That's going to be a hell of a match we get sooner rather than later, probably SummerSlam. Liv Morgan versus Roxanne Perez. But speaking of Liv Morgan, got to talk about her partner, Dominic Mysterio, as he had a impromptu Intercontinental Championship match against not Pentagon Jr., but a motherfucker named Octagon Jr. that we were introduced earlier on in the same day at the Worlds Collide pay-per-view. He was in a tag match, Octagon Jr. was, with another popular superstar that we've gotten introduced, Mr. Iguana, who I know you're a fan of. I'm sure you're going to be excited to talk about him on your next episode of King's Court, but I'll let you do a little promo there at the end. But we got introduced here to Octagon Jr. So Dominic Mysterio, he was going to show up where all the luchadors were going to be earlier on in the day. He calls out Octagon Jr. They get into a little bit of a scramble in the middle of the ring, and Dominic, in a braggadocious form, grabs the mic. He's like, you know what? I challenge. I'm gonna beat your ass later tonight at Money in the Bank, and I'm gonna make sure that I put my Intercontinental Championship title on the line. No one told him to do this. No one told him this was a good idea. He just decided he was going to give this random luchador who was competing at Worlds Collide an opportunity for his Intercontinental Championship, which is crazy. But he decided to do that, and he held his end of the bargain, because that same day in the match itself, of course, he did end up winning this match. It was a pretty quick match, nothing too crazy. They're now calling Dominic the king of the luchadores, and I think he's going to continue to rack up some wins. It's going to end with him facing his father for his mask and a hair versus mask match. I'm calling it. I've been calling it. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And I'm going to be excited for it, and I will be seated when it's announced, and I'm going to say, I told you so. But anyways, Dominic wins this match, a very short match, after Liv Morgan caused a distraction, allowing Dominic to pull Octagon Jr. or kick him down from the top of the rope. Then he hits a 619 on him. Dominic climbs up to the top of the rope, hits a frog splash from behind, pins Octagon Jr., wins the match, and he retains his Intercontinental Championship against this luchador from AAA. And so, very interesting decision that was made here. I was surprised to see a AAA wrestler get an opportunity at the Money in the Bank match, pay per view. Sorry, but they did, and what they did within those 10 minutes, I think, boosted Dominic's ego and his character a little bit more. And so, as I mentioned, he's going for this King of the Luchadores gimmick, and he's walking out with the mask, and he takes it off before he walks completely into the ring. And I think it's been great. But I know you're a big fan of this stuff. I want to ask, what did you think of the Octagon Jr. versus Dominic Mysterio impromptu match that was made at Worlds Collide, and resulted in a match at Money in the Bank that same day? What did you think of this match in general, and any thoughts on maybe Octagon Jr. as well?
Yeah, I don't. I was talking about this with you earlier. I don't know if something got canceled or what, but this match did seem a little rushed and out of nowhere. So it did kind of catch us off guard. And like you said, it just kind of didn't make sense, especially with Dom, going out there and saying, I'm going to make sure that I put this belt on the line. No one asked him to do that, but I appreciate it because it's something that I've told you in the past a couple of days is that ever since Dom got that belt, he hasn't really done too much with it. And again, that might not be his fault. That might be what they're going for, or maybe they just haven't had enough time with all these pay per views, kind of stacking up. But he really hasn't done much with that belt. So I was glad that he kind of took it upon himself, even if it was to fill in for another match, took upon himself to be that kind of fighting champion. So I appreciate that from Dom. As for Octagon Jr., he's one of those luchadors that is getting signed from AAA. So I could see why they offered him the position in this match. I think that WWE actually thought that Octagon Jr. was going to be the breakout star from Worlds Collide and that fans were going to be cheering for him, and that's why they probably offered him the match. And just like the fans are, they attach themselves to someone that the company wasn't even trying to push on them with Mr. Iguana. So it seems like these luchadors are getting more opportunities within the WWE, and they're being offered these contracts to sign. So it'll be interesting to see these characters and these luchadors kind of like integrate into the WWE system. But this match between the call out, Dom coming out there doing it in Spanish, telling him, "I heard you're a huge Rey Mysterio fan," and calling him out on that shit. That was perfect. Him getting aggressive and finally showing us what he can do in the ring was amazing too. So Dom, he has big things coming this year. I was glad that he didn't lose the belt. At one point, I was kind of scared that they were going to put it on the Mexican, but they did the right call. Dominic Mysterio won this. I know Dom's Mexican too. Dom, I keep getting called out for this shit all week. Dom's Mexican too, but I mean the motherland Mexican. I thought they were gonna put it on him. They didn't end up putting it on him. I'm glad. Dom deserves this belt. I want to see him defend more. Even if it is someone like the GM pressuring him to defend more, or if it's him calling more people out like this, I want to see more of this from Dom.
Yeah, I thought Dom's part in this was great. I am excited to see where this goes for him. I do think they did announce that AAA is, of course, having their WrestleMania type pay per view called Triple Mania in August, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm curious to see if they will include Dominic Mysterio there. Would you bet that Dominic will be wrestling at Triple Mania in August for AAA?
Well, seeing as they've already announced I think it's like a six-man match for one of the titles, three AAA stars and three TNA stars. I would assume that we would get some kind of WWE representation, and what better match than a rematch between these two, especially because it'll be on Octagon's home turf. So now he'll have that crowd behind him. Will they have him in there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure the extent of the help we are going to be offering to AAA in the sense of letting our people go over there and their people come over here. But it'll be interesting if they do allow Dominic Mysterio to go defend that belt in Mexico. I'd be all for it.
I think that would be great. And I just want this all to result in Dominic Mysterio facing his father in a hair versus mask match. I think it's going to be great. And I hope it happens whenever they decide to put a pay per view in Mexico, which I'm sure will be If it's not in the year 2025, I would bet it's in the year 2026. And I think that's when Ray finally decides he's going to retire. All I want is for all of this to end in with Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio having the mask versus hair match. And I'm not supposed to talk about this. I'm gonna again, I'm stepping into your territory. But at the beginning of the Worlds Collide pay-per-view, Rey Mysterio did come out. He made the show introduction, thanking everybody for being there. Saying he can't believe that we've gotten to this point with Lucha Libre, and how he's just happy to be a part of the process. And so when he did come out to cut this promo, I noticed something, and I'm sure a lot of fans did. I know a couple. My friend Will texted me, and he mentioned it as well. But his Rey Mysterio grew out his beard, and typically Rey has a clean, fresh face and under the mask, and so you can't really tell that the brother is in his late 40s, early 50s, maybe perhaps. And so that just made me realize that he is getting up there in age, and I think that the retirement match is going to be sooner rather than later, especially being that he hurt himself right before WrestleMania. So I think that age is catching up with him. And I can't imagine he has many matches left. But with the matches that he does have left, I think he's going to want to put over his son one last time, and make him, and crown him as the official king of the luchadors. I would love that. I think it'd be sick for Dom. And it would be a great way for Rey Mysterio to call it a career. Imagine Dominic Mysterio taking the mask off of his dad. That would be sick. I would love that for him. I'm just gonna sit here and say again, I think that's the match we're gonna get, and I can't wait for it to happen. I think it's gonna be great. But speaking of intercontinental championships, we had another intercontinental championship match this same pay-per-view, but it was the women's match, and that was of course Lyra Valkyria, who was the champion to start, against Becky Lynch. This match here was I believe their third match between these two ladies, and so we got this story from WrestleMania when Becky Lynch finally returned to WWE television. She tagged with Lyra Valkyria to win the women's tag team championships against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez at WrestleMania. They beat them, but the following night at the Monday Night at Raw, they lost those same titles, and that's when Becky Lynch lost it. She turned her back on Lyra Valkyria and ultimately became a heel. And so this match here, of course, the stakes were a little bit high because Becky Lynch made Lyra Valkyria promise, if I win this match, you're going to raise my hand in the middle of that ring. You're going to congratulate me for doing so. And so, of course, the Bird Lady Lyra, I thought she was going to win this match here. I was hoping she would win this match. But I had a feeling, Becky's taking a couple of L's. I don't see her losing this time around, maybe. So I did think that she might have a chance. And of course, we did find out that Becky Lynch was going to be the winner of this match, and ultimately be crowned our new women's intercontinental champion. I don't have many notes on this match here. The way this match ended transparently was with Becky Lynch rolling up Lyra Valkyria, grabbing her tights and stealing the win with a pin. Lyra was clearly frustrated. She couldn't believe she had just lost the match, and now she had to fucking parade and congratulate Becky in the middle of the ring and raise her hand. And she did so. She was a good sport, but Becky just took it a little bit too far. She had her raise her hand on each side, so each side of the arena and crowd could get that picture of Becky's hand being raised. She made Lyra wrap the belt itself around her waist, and that's when Lyra had enough. She hit her with a suplex followed by her finisher, the Nightwing, and left Becky there while she walked out of the ring in frustration. So we now have a new WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion, one of your favorite wrestlers, Becky Lynch. How excited were you to see Becky go over here, and how much are you looking forward to seeing where she goes and how she takes this championship to the next level?
This is crazy. I definitely did not want Becky to win. I don't know why they put the belt on her. It's something that I've been discussing with friends over the past week or so, where they come at me and they say, oh, well, it'd be a shame if they didn't win insert belt name here with all the work that they did to get the females where they were. I get it. I get it that these females walked so that the current roster could run, but I don't think we owe them anything upon their I guess desired return, in the sense of trying to give them, a title shot. I don't think that Becky deserved this title shot. I don't think that the rumored, Bella Twins reunion for the tag belts is needed. Uh, there's plenty of roster on these shows that you can fill this evolution show with the new stars of tomorrow. And I don't understand why we're giving some of these people, these older stars that really don't have it in them to go anymore, a chance or an opportunity to carry these belts. I just don't see why. So when they put this belt on Becky, it shocked me. I didn't think that Lyra was going to win, but I do appreciate that even though Lyra was, embarrassed and she had to go out there and trot Becky's hand up in the air, she still got her lick back at the end and she attacked Becky, and it seems like this is going to keep going, and I hope that it ends with Lyra regaining her belt and edging Becky out, because honestly, I don't see um who she would even feud past this besides Bailey, and that's because they had something that they were teasing before she even left. So I don't know, man. This
Mhm.
match, like you said, I don't have too much to say about it. I will give props where props are due. I think these ladies went out there and they did their job. Even Becky, who I'm not a big fan of, she went out there, she killed it. Her and Lyra went out there, they did their thing. But the result of this match is not my favorite. It's not what I would have gone for. But we'll see where this goes. It seems like these three ladies are coming to a head, and we'll just have to wait and see what they decide to do with it.
Yeah, I do think this was their best match between Lyra and Becky Lynch. And you mentioned it, so I think what's next here for the Intercontinental Championship is Bailey. At the end or the following show on Monday Night Raw, following this, Becky Lynch had came out to cut a promo. Talk about how she was disappointed and she couldn't believe the disrespect that Lyra Valkyria had for her following the match. Lyra had came out to talk her shit as well in response to Becky Lynch, but that's when Bailey came from behind, attacked Becky. And Lyra was caught by surprise. She was like, "Yo, what are you doing? Like, you're not supposed to be here." She was caught by surprise by Bailey's action. So it seems like there may be a triple threat on the way. Maybe that's again a match that takes place at the Evolution pay per view. I don't know, but I do think this will be a triple threat sooner rather than later, and then maybe we get Bailey versus Becky at SummerSlam. I just think those two names hold a little bit more weight at this moment with with the people who are going to be watching SummerSlam. Maybe the fans that don't tune in all the time, they know who Bailey is, they know who a Becky Lynch is. So I think that's probably the match that we're going to get at SummerSlam between those two. But who knows? I might be wrong. Um, all in all, Becky Lynch is our current Intercontinental Champion on when it comes to the women's roster, and we will see where the championship lies over the next coming months. But speaking of championships, I am excited to talk about the men's Money in the Bank ladder match here, which wasn't the main event of the show. It was the fourth match of the night. And of course, the participants in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match were Seth Rollins, Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, Andrade, and El Grande Americano. I walked in hoping that, you know, LA Knight was gonna win this shit because it's about been 3 years. He's been in this fucking match for 3 years, and each year he's been a viable pick. And still, it's just I don't know. I don't know what he did to somebody backstage. But anyways, also thought Seth Rollins was a great pick. I know we both talked about that. We were confident in Seth. I know you wanted El Grande Americano to win. I just didn't think that was going to be the case. Um, but this match, all in all, was all over the place in my opinion. Had great spots. It was fantastic. Penta showed out. I thought Penta had a great outing. He hit the Canadian Destroyer on Andrade on a ladder, which was crazy. I hope Andrade's okay. Andrade's nuts also got hit by the corner of a ladder, which was brutal to see. I don't know if you saw that on replay or caught that while watching the pay per view, but absolutely brutal. I hope Andrade is okay. Um, this was an insane match, but some major things that happened as well during this match that we must talk about. is there was a moment here where everyone was up. It was Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, Andrade, El Grande Americano, and then we got Seth Rollins' faction to hit to come out and help. We knew at some point they were gonna get involved. So Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker walk out. Braun Breaker runs down the ramp, spears Chad Gable slash El Grande Americano, he puts him out. Puts him out like he put out Carlito. And then we get Bronson Reed heading into the ring. He hits a Samoan drop on Penta. He hit a tsunami on Andrade. Braun continued to spear people outside of the ring. He hit the spear on LA Knights. And so they wiped the floor. And then they turned their attention to Solo Sikoa, the last man standing. And that's when Jacob Fatu and Jeff Cobb's music hit. They come out because now they're gonna get involved. They're not gonna let their boy Solo get jumped. So Jacob Fatu starts to wreck house. He goes in there, he knocks Braun Breaker out, takes out Bronson Reed as well. He's running through the ropes, hitting his the suicide dive through the ropes on Braun Breaker, putting them out, clearing the lane for Solo Sikoa. So much so that Jacob hilariously leads Solo into the ring. He grabs a ladder and he sets it up for Solo to climb on. And Solo is just having a blast. He's over there smiling, laughing, like, look at this guy. This shit is easy. This shit is fucking easy. And Solo's climbing up to the middle to the ladder, and it looks like he's finally gonna get his hands on the briefcase. And that's when Jacob Fatu, out of the corner of the camera, he grabs Solo's ankles. He holds it, and Solo is struggling to climb up the ladder. It's like, what the fuck is going on? He looks back down and he sees Jacob Fatu is holding on to him. It's like, Jacob, what are you doing? And that's when Jacob just goes, I hate you, Solo. Pulls him down. Believes he hits him with a Samoan drop. And then he takes him out to the corner on the ring apron and puts him through a ladder with a rock bottom, and knocks out Solo Sikoa. And it's been set. Jacob Fatu is no longer affiliated with Solo or Jeff Cobb. He's gonna go out and do his own thing. I'm excited to see what will take place on this upcoming episode of SmackDown. But we got that situation sorted out. Once Jacob Fatu, cleared the house, knocked out Solo Sikoa, that's when Seth Rollins was able to take advantage of everyone being out of the ring. He climbed, which also must mention that he decided to use a ladder that was a sponsored ladder, a Fireball sponsored ladder. He puts it up. LA Knight tries to get in the middle of the ring as well, tries to fight back, but Seth hits a curb stomp, allowing Seth to climb up to the ladder, and he unhooks the briefcase, and he is our Money in the Bank winner as well. We know Seth was involved in probably the greatest cash in history when he cashed in on Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania to win the WWE Championship, and now it seems like he's going to do something very similar. But what did you think about this match here? Did you enjoy it? Any spots that you wanted to call out, and what were your thoughts on the whole Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu situation as well?
I think you hit pretty much the head on all points. Oh, I'll give a little bit of thoughts on everybody's performance. Seth Rollins, congratulations. We kind of knew that he was the surefire, choice to win. So I'm excited to see what he does. You said it yourself. One of my favorite cash-ins, one of my favorite run-ins is that run-in at WrestleMania. That shit's iconic. So I expect nothing more than a spectacular cash-in from Seth Rollins. I'm gonna skip over Solo Sikoa because surprisingly he was the highlight of this match for me. So I have a little bit more to say on him. LA Knight, again, my boy got robbed. Towards the end, there was a certain point where we thought he was going to win. It looked like he almost had the briefcase in his hand. And again, just not his year again, which is kind of sad. But I hope that they do give him something to do this year. He definitely deserves it. He's been holding it down, in these segments on the show where typically you'd have a dead spot. LA Knight comes in there and gives us something to fucking watch and to get hyped over. So I hope they give him something cool to do this year, whether that be a title run or shit, maybe even stick him in a tag team. We'll see what they have for LA Knight, but they better have something good for him planned post this. Penta, like you said, he went out there, he showed out. I think this is just going to be the year that Penta shows out. You know, if they decide not to give him any like title this year, that's fine. But I do see him showing out this year, and inevitably they're going to be put together, him and his brother, and that'll be something special. Maybe that'll be the kickoff to the tag team division that we've been waiting for, but we'll just have to wait and see. Andrade, I did notice that Andrade took a pretty hard bump right there, and like you said, I hope that everything is good for him. He is another one that I kind of thought could have sneakily taken this whole thing, and I wouldn't have been mad at it. Andrade is another one who has had a phenomenal year and a half. You know, he had that amazing feud with Carmelo and LA Knight at some point. So Andrade, definitely someone that I hope that we see more, especially with the acquisition of AAA. I wouldn't mind if we send him down there to work some shows or even to, you know, win some belts down there. El Grande Americano, this wasn't his time, sadly. I really hope that this would have been him winning and that they could have done something fun, but it seems like they have something bigger planned for him. So we'll just have to wait and see. I don't think that El Grande Americano is done, nor do I want it to be. It is still one of the most compelling things on WWE television and something that you and me both have had a lot of fun throughout the year covering. So I want more El Grande Americano. I'm not ready for him to be demasked. I'm not ready for us to see who it is under that mask. So I want to see them do a lot more stuff with them. And then finally, Solo Sikoa, the highlight of this match to me. From the start to the end, this motherfucker was comedic genius. Not only that, but you could see a little bit of that street wrestler that you guys like to bring up that he used to rock down in NXT, because he did get in some hard hitting moves in here. He was wrestling for a majority of this match, which was nice, but he did do a mix of that comedic solo that I love and that wrestling solo that you guys love. And this is something that I hope WWE pays attention to, because whatever they were doing with solo before just wasn't working. And to me, as someone who wasn't the biggest solo fan, when the gimmick wasn't working, when this quote unquote what I like to call the club promoter, you know, gimmick was happening, um, I turned a page on him when he did the I got tickets. You know, that shit was fucking hilarious to me. And I wanted more of that. I kept asking, give me more of that solo. And I'm glad that this whole match, that was the solo we got. From him licking his finger and doing the LA Knight and then missing the night because you know LA Knight was knocked down, to at the beginning of the match looking at everybody and doing their gimmicks. I thought this shit was gold all the way until the end. You know, like when you said, when he grabbed his leg, he could have just turned around and been like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? But he didn't. He stayed staring at the briefcase and he kept pulling his leg in a kind of, you know, comedic manner. And I really appreciated that. I feel like this gimmick is where Solo really does shine. And I hope that they continue to showcase this gimmick. Overall, I would say that this match was great. I would say that it was slightly better than the females' Money in the Bank, but overall, these boys went out there and killed it, and I wouldn't have expected anything less. The names in this match were big, and they went out there and did big things.
Yeah, this match was great. I do have one gripe with the match. Prior to everything that happened within Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Jacob Fatu, Jeff Cobb, I thought they were having a great match. All six of these men were. We all knew at some point Bronson and Braun Breaker would get involved, especially with Seth Rollins being probably the favorite to win this match. We knew they were going to have to be out there, especially with Paul Heyman ringside as well. We got that. I wasn't upset about it. I thought the Jacob Fatu turning on Solo Sikoa happening in the middle of the ladder match was a little odd placement for me, because I felt like that's a bigger moment, and it could have been a much larger moment than what it was, because it just got mixed into the rest of the Money in the Bank ladder match. You know, everyone's going to be excited about the winner, what's going to happen, who they're going to cash in on, and so you're not going to forget that it happened because it's Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. It's a major story, but it's overshadowed and it doesn't get the full attention that it deserved, in my opinion. And I thought it could have been executed a whole lot better, that specific moment. That was one of my gripes with this match, because even prior to that, they were having a fantastic match. They all were. You talked about it, Penta, Andrade, Grande Americano. They were all fucking great. And shout out to Chad Gable. He Saturday historic run, a historic run. He put on a fucking banger of a match with Lijo del Vikingo on at Worlds Collide, a hard hitting match. This motherfucker was taking crazy bumps, and then he went on to wrestle under the mask at Money in the Bank. Again, this wasn't an easy match. He got through it and he put on a hell of a show throughout all. He's my Saturday MVP. That motherfucker went crazy. Fantastic. Somebody put a championship on this man sooner rather than later. Um, Anyways, back to the topic. I just think that the Jacob Fatu moment was a little bit overshadowed. I am excited to see what comes of it. What's going to happen on SmackDown this week. I want to see what Solo Sikoa hilariously is going to tell Jeff Cobb. How is he going to explain this? And there are rumblings. There are rumblings that Haikuleo will be coming to WWE television soon. We've been waiting on him ever since he was announced months ago that they signed him. He's not another part of the Samoan family, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see if maybe he appears this Friday. But Jacob Fatu is gonna have to answer to Solo Sikoa for what he did, and I'm excited. And most importantly, though, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins now is the Money in the Bank winner and the briefcase holder. And so we're gonna have to wait and see who he's gonna cash in on. We're gonna talk a little bit about it later on as well. But before we get to who we predict and what championship Seth Rollins will be cashing in on, there was one final match in this pay-per-view, and that of course was the tag team match, the main event match that was taking place, which included Cody Rhodes and our world heavyweight champion at the time, Jey Uso, against the WWE undisputed champion John Cena and Logan Paul. Very interesting decision here. I gotta be honest with you. I was really only looking forward to seeing my boy Cody be back on television ever since WrestleMania and be in a match here. This match itself, I thought it wasn't the greatest of matches. It had a phenomenal moment at the end. But really watching Jey Uso get his ass whooped for about 15 minutes didn't do nothing for me. There was a great spot that Logan Paul had where Jey Uso was set up on the announce table. He hit a springboard moonsault from the second rope onto the announce table on Jey Uso. Phenomenal, fantastic. Logan Paul is insane. Cody Rhodes also hits a superplex off of the top rope on Logan Paul while Logan Paul was holding a drone. So we got a crazy crazy video shot of Logan Paul getting superplexed. But besides that, none too crazy of a match. The best part of the match, of course, was when John Cena was in the ring with Cody Rhodes. He was cheating again, as he's been cheating over the last fucking 6 months. He grabs the championship. He hits Cody Rhodes over the head. And right when he's about to celebrate again, right when he's going to throw the championship out of the ring so he can pin Cody, we get a hooded individual who runs into the ring and punches John Cena, grabs the belt, hits John Cena with the belt himself, knocking John Cena out. He stands over John Cena with the belt in his hand. He takes his hoodie off. He has a ski mask on, takes the ski mask off, and then it's none other than R-Truth, who had just been fired and let go by the WWE maybe no more than about 7 to 10 days ago. And all the online flack, the entire locker room was upset. The community was livid. People were sad. The locker room was in shambles. Superstars were saying, we're talking shit on the executive, saying, "Oh, I can't believe this has happened." Like if they fire Truth, anything could fucking happen. They don't give a shit about anybody. Everyone was hurt, and so to see R-Truth come back, the pop that he got in Los Angeles was insane, and it was a great moment. And I really enjoyed that. That was the highlight of the match. The highlight of the fucking match, because the match was ass. Besides that, the match was ass. And so Truth takes off his shit. He runs back out. He just runs back out. That's when Cody Rhodes gets up. He's able to hit the crossroads on John Cena. Does that. Takes the pin. Wins the match. Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes celebrate. John Cena climbs up to the or walks up to the ramp. He's sad, looking down at the championship. Can't believe what just happened. There was also a moment in the match where Logan Paul and John Cena kind of got into it. Maybe we get John Cena and Logan Paul in the future in a match against each other. But again, I don't even need to get into the whole John Cena bit. It is what it is at this point. Um, what did you think of this match? What did you think of our truth returning here after being let go by TKO and informing everybody that he was no longer a part of the WWE universe after his contract would be expiring, and just overall thoughts on the main event as well.
The main event was okay. I think I'm with you when you say that it wasn't anything special. John Cena went out there and did his John Cena thing. It wasn't better than the last time, so there really isn't anything to talk about. Logan Paul is someone that I keep asking more from, and I will continue to do so because I know that he can dish it out. And this match, I would say he did a good job. He did an okay job, but I still need to see that killer animal that I know is inside of Logan Paul that we just don't see on TV just yet. So I was a little disappointed with his performance in this, but overall, I would say that he had a solid night. I just expect more from him. He is young. He's that high flying, that risk taker, and that's what I want to see more of. As for Cody, it's good to see him back. I love Cody. He's someone that even back in the day when he jumped ship for AEW, I jumped with him. So seeing him back on my WWE screen is awesome. I want to see where this goes for him. If he's going to be challenging for his belt again, or if he's going to take a little break from it. Uh, I don't know. I don't know if I really want to immediately see him go for a belt, but at the same time, it's Cody Rhodes. That's kind of his shtick. So I wouldn't be mad at it if they threw him in there. As for Jay, this match, I'm not gonna say Jay did horrible, but like you said, it just wasn't anything special. It's more of the same shit. He has a move set that has like about 8 moves, and that's all we get. And whenever he decides to do something new, he kind of fucks it up. So it's one of those cases where like I would love him to try something new, but at the same time it looks so bad that I don't even know if it's worth him trying something new. There was a title change for him on Monday night, and I'm guessing we'll get to that eventually. But it's about time. If it wasn't this match on Saturday, it was definitely the match on Monday to prove to you guys that he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready, and the belt is back on someone competent that can carry it well, and we'll have to see where that goes. As for Jay, like I don't know where he goes from here. But on
Back to tagging with his brother.
Probably, honestly, probably. I mean, it's probably for the best. It's probably for the best. We'll get Jimmy back on TV. Jay won't be holding a main belt. If anything, he'll hold the tag belts. But I would assume that we're gonna give those to Lucha Bros anyway. So I don't see Jimmy holding or Jay holding a belt anytime soon. The match on Saturday though, nothing special. The special stuff came at the end. When I saw someone run in, I didn't know who to expect. Did I expect R-Truth? I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't. The day before, I had seen a post that someone made on Reddit saying that R-Truth had been added back to the main active roster. I didn't take it seriously just because there's been a lot of rumors and a lot of fake press going around over the situation, so I didn't want to take it anything to heart and then be disappointed later. But to our surprise, R-Truth did return and he got his lick back on John. Not that he needed to get a lick back on John, but he got his little revenge. And this is a move that I didn't expect, and it is something that I want to ask you, because following after, it seems like Triple H on the post show made it seem like this was a work, but R-Truth took it to social media to kind of express it that it wasn't a work. I was under the assumption that it wasn't a work. I'm still kind of under the assumption that it's not a work. I want to believe R-Truth when he says that he was let go, and that maybe they did see the value in him that the rest of us saw when we were complaining that he had to let go, and that's why they brought him back. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Maybe this was a big work and we're all just fucking stupid, but I don't think it's that simple. I think that R-Truth wouldn't pull a move like that. I do enjoy and respect what they did for his return. I think this was fucking perfect, and what they did on Monday was even better. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see what kind of Ron we get going forward. And as for John, it seems like he has his own shit cooking, but we'll get to that.
I do think this was not a fucking work. I think they fired the man, they let him go, and the locker what initiated them bringing him back was the locker room, was the superstars being upset and saying like this has been cutthroat. I've never seen no shit like this before. Like this is ridiculous. There was many superstars who were upset. And I think he's such a locker room leader that the pain was felt and they expressed that frustration, and I think they probably felt that backstage, and so they thought it would be a good idea just to bring him back at whatever capacity and whatever he would want to agree upon. And I've read reports that they were calling R-Truth the entire week. They were calling him. He didn't pick up. It wasn't until like maybe 2 to 3 days before the pay-per-view that Nick Khan called him himself and had to be like, hey, like what is it going to take for you to come back? And that's when they settled on whatever they settled on. But again, I think this wasn't done as part of the story. This was organic, and I think the locker room. I don't think the fans, the WWE don't give a fuck about what the fans say. Besides the Cody Rhodes shit, when the Rock tried to take the main event spot, like besides that, they have never really, and the Daniel Bryan shit, they have never really gave a fuck about what the fans say or what they complain about. But I think it had to be a level of mistrust in the locker room, and the locker room had to be very upset, and I think that's what brought him back. um but I'm glad he's back. It seems like we're gonna get an interesting story with him, and he's no longer going by R-Truth. He's now using his legal name Ron Killings, which is great. We'll talk about that promo that he cut as well momentarily. Ball and all, I thought that was a great moment for him. The moment was better than the match itself. I'm glad that Cody Rhodes is back on television, but that concludes the Money in the Bank pay-per-view for us. Wanted to ask, of the 5 matches, which one was your favorite of the night?
Ooh, that one's a tough one. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna say the men's ladder and men's money in the bank ladder match. Like I said, Solo showed out. He is a superstar that I'm constantly becoming more and more of a fan of. So I love to see everything that he was doing out there. And I had some of the biggest stars that we've been talking about for the past year and a half, that we've been saying, these guys need a push. These guys need to be on bigger shows, bigger matches, and thank God they're listening, because we got one hell of a men's Money in the Bank this year. But yeah, I would say the men's Money in the Ladder Bank was my favorite match, and overall for the pay per view, I think I'm gonna give it like a 4 to 5 stars.
My favorite match of this night was the women's ladder match. I really did enjoy the men's ladder match as well, but just the all that going on in the middle of it with the Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, I think it really took away from the match as a whole. And I thought the women were fucking fantastic. Rhea Ripley, great. Roxanne Perez, probably the MVP of this match for me. Stephanie Vaquer, phenomenal. Chef's kiss on the devil's kiss, that was fantastic. And I'm glad that Naomi won the match as well. The right decision was made there. So I'm gonna have to go with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match in terms of how many stars or how many ladders out of 5 that I would have given this pay per view. Probably like a 3.5 or 3. I really just fucked with the money in the women's and the men's Money in the Bank match. The other matches were okay for what they were. Um, I'm always happy to see John Cena. I'm disappointed with the direction that they're taking him on, but I'm not gonna sit here and rant about it again. But I'm just gonna enjoy whatever the fuck he gives us for the next couple of months, and whatever. Have my peace with it. Um, but following, of course, the pay per view, following the premium live event Money in the Bank, we get Monday Night Raw. there are a few hot topics that I wanted to discuss with you here. The first of which is I know you must be excited. I know you must have sat up in your seat. But the first segment, of course, of the night was John Cena. John Cena came out just to talk about how many dates he has left, the match he just had, etc., etc., letting the fans know that again his plan is to ruin wrestling, and that is when CM Punk, his music hits, because John Cena asks, "Is there anyone out there that can fucking beat me?" Basically, just who has the balls, the courage to come out here and beat me. CM Punk then walks out. He and Cena have a little bit of a back and forth. CM Punk lets him know how he's a coward, how he's turned his back on the people, and it's funny how times have changed over a decade. Before he was the one on the other side, as the heel, while John was the babyface. Of course, is what is it still should be, but it is not. Um, and that is when CM Punk tells Cena, look, man, if you're not a coward, you'll face me for that championship right here, right now in Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix goes crazy. Phoenix goes crazy. John Cena's like, let's do it. And the crowd goes nuts again. And then he raises the belt and he smirks and he says, but not here. Not in Arizona. No, no, no. A match like this has to take place at a big pay-per-view. And if you want a championship opportunity, you're going to follow me all the way to Saudi. And we're going to have this match at Night of Champions. So what do you say? And that's when CM Punk, you can see him in the camera mouthing the words, "You're a coward." He's pissed because CM Punk doesn't want to go to Saudi. He don't really fuck with them. He's pissed. But he's like, damn, I'm not going to turn down an opportunity to get a championship match, And so he agrees. They agree. And it's set. CM Punk, John Cena, and Night of Champions. And in Saudi Arabia on Saturday, June 28th. I am very, very much looking forward to this match. But what I'm even more looking forward to was at the end of this promo, when CM Punk and John Cena are done talking to each other, Seth Rollins' music hits. He walks out with Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed all by his side while holding his new Money in the Bank briefcase. And so it seems that Seth Rollins doesn't have his eyes set on the World Heavyweight Championship. No, he has his eyes set on the WWE Undisputed Championship, and I fucking love that for him. I love that because get that shit off of Cena. Fuck that guy. And I think this is great.
Yeah.
So I was excited about that, but want to talk about how you're feeling about CM Punk and John Cena being announced for Saudi Arabia in Night of Champions. Are you looking forward to it? Who do you have winning that match? If you had to pick a winner now, and with Seth Rollins now, sort of making his claim, letting him know, hey man, I got this fucking briefcase. At any point, I could cash this shit in on you. And of course, we know the history, the turmoil between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. We know that's there. So, of course, Seth wants to fuck with him. He said, fuck that World Heavyweight Championship. Whatever Punk is trying to get, I'm going to beat him to it. And I think that's another layer of story that I'm enjoying. But I'm done rambling. What are your thoughts on this, and how excited are you for CM Punk and John Cena in the year 2025?
I mean, this is fucking crazy on like so many different levels, right? Because John Cena effectively pulled the most heel move of all time. We all know, you brought it up, CM Punk is not a fan of the Saudis. He has said multiple times he would not be going over there because it conflicts with his morals. But now it kind of seems like he doesn't have a chance. John Cena gave him a way in, and it's either you take it or you stand by your morals. And whatever bag they paid CM Punk must have been really big, because this man has finally taken a deal to go to Saudi Arabia. And that's fucking wild to me, someone that I never thought I'd see go over there just because of the person that he is was Punk. So I'm interested. I'm interested to learn, what was either awarded to him or what is being promised to him for him to take this kind of deal. And honestly, is he gonna win? You present something very, very special in the fact that you said, Seth Rollins came out, then he started teasing. It's begun. These people with the briefcase, they love to tease that shit. And it's finally begun with Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins is, I would pronounce, the king of the cash in. He is someone that loves to do this shit. So if you want Seth to cash in that night, I would assume that you would have Punk win. A beat down, tired Punk is easy prey for Seth Rollins. Do I see Seth Rollins cashing in on Cena? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think Seth is that stupid, unless John is completely fucking out and he knows that is an Uzi swoop. I don't think he goes for John if John retains. I think that this only goes down as a cash in if CM Punk wins. And with CM Punk going over there for the first time, there's a 50-50 chance that he might win. So am I excited for this? Absolutely. John Cena versus CM Punk will always be a banger of a match. And I hope that even in their older age now, they can put on a banger of a match. So yes, I'm excited for this. The Saudi show, we'll see how it builds up over the next couple of weeks. But this is one of the matches that can get me hyped for that show.
I'm just excited. I think CM Punk has a chance here, but again, we got to pay attention and think about the future and the upcoming pay-per-views. We know SummerSlam is right around the corner. Is the match that they want in that main event spot, is that CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes? Is that John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for a rematch? Is that maybe Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, John Cena? Is Seth Rollins somehow involved? So a lot of questions to be asked there. You make a good point. You might be right where Seth doesn't cash in on John. He only cashes in on CM Punk if he wins. I can see that happening. Regardless, him walking out for this specific promo, with what happened later on in the night, I think this cash in is gonna be great. And I hope it I just hope it doesn't lead into the bullshit I know we're gonna get. I know we're gonna get, oh, John Cena loses. He's gonna finally realize that, he's a good guy again. Get the fuck out of here. You made a decision, so stick with it. And that's what I don't want to fucking see. But I can imagine that's what we're gonna get a result of this cash in. But all in all, CM Punk going to Saudi is crazy. I think it's gonna be a great match. CM Punk's gonna carry. Can't believe I'm saying this in the year of 2025, but I think CM Punk is gonna carry. But I'm excited. I'm excited. But speaking of John Cena, of course, we got to bring it back to R-Truth himself. Um, Something happened at the press conference of Money in the Bank. There was a reporter who asked Triple H, what brought R-Truth back, and Triple H had a smart remark. He said it's all part of the story, and that caught a lot of flack online. With no, we already discussed it, so don't need to harp on it again. But then, of course, R-Truth, on this episode of Monday Night Raw, he returns to television. He shows up, and he walks up to the announce table with a mic in his hands. And he tells the fans that they will be putting some respect on his name, and that he is Ron Killings. He is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And he cuts a fantastic, heartfelt promo, one in which he cuts his hair to let the fans know. He lets the fans know this is not the R-Truth that you guys have seen on television joking around. No, this is a serious R-Truth. I'm not only R-Truth, but I am Ron Killings, and you will be taking me seriously, and I'm not here to play any games. So I thought this was fucking great, and you can see the emotion that the announcers, Wade Barrett and Michael Cole, had for him. I'm just happy that he got to have this moment, talk his shit, and he's been on interviews over the course of the last 48, 72 hours following that promo, staying in kayfabe, cussing people out. He just cussed out Bully Ray. I heard that, and so I think this is fantastic. But wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on R-Truth's first promo back since he was let go, and now that he's being, and what are your thoughts on him no longer wanting to go by R-Truth, and it now wants to be known as Ron Killings?
This is perfect. This is something that I even brought back when we were, predicting the John Cena versus R-Truth match. I said there's a group of people that have forgotten what kind of killer Ron Killings is. And there's a generation of people that don't know Ron Killings and what he can do in that ring. And I am glad that upon return, he decided to go this route. He decided, listen, you've seen truth for years. Well, he even said it. I love truth, you love truth. But it's not about truth anymore. It's about me. The truth has set me free. And now we're getting this killer Ron Killings, this person that we've seen in the past be a phenomenal wrestler and something that a lot of people have forgotten that he is. So I'm excited to see, I was a little sad. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little sad when he cut off his hair. I was like, damn, dude, this is making it real. But I'm glad, he's being given this chance again to shine in the light that he used to once shine in. And it just gets me hyped. Like you said, he's been going on this tour of podcasts and interviews over the past couple hours after this interview, and he's sticking to character, and that's what I love to see that. There was once a time where our wrestlers didn't break character, where they would go out in public and eat dinner and hold that belt. And if they were a heel, they would be heels to people in public. We don't get that anymore. It's a lot more controlled. It's a lot more about fan appreciation. But I like to see that Ron Killings is tapping into that old school WWF, WWE vibe, and he's not breaking character. So I'm excited to see where he goes. This promo was amazing. Him cutting off his hair was a shock, and I feel like everyone in that arena, reacted accordingly. They were gasping, they were screaming no. But if this is what we need to get, R-Truth back on page, then fuck it, let's go. I want to see him in some solid ass rivalry, some competition that is going to make him actually work. I'd love to see him against Chad Gable. I'd love to see him up against someone like a Seth Rollins. Test him, see how far he can push it. If this is going to be Ron's final big run, the last final years we get of him as Ron Killings, then fucking go full balls to the wall, brother. Show us what you got and go up on top. We love you. I would assume that, it was a mix between, corporate and us, what brought you back. And I'm glad that you're back. So now make use of it.
I do believe that this run that he's going to be on, it's not going to be longer than a couple months. I do think it's going to be some short. I don't think he's going to go past a year. I imagine they brought him back on a short contract to finish out a story here. With John Cena being his last match, I feel like he got to go out facing John Cena again. I just feel like that's the story. That's what brought him back, and again, they're going to use CM Punk, R-Truth, Ron Killings to try to get Cena to realize like the error of his ways, and I'm really getting annoyed because it's fucking ridiculous. It's not gonna. It's whatever, man. R-Truth has already had a better start to his fucking retirement tour than John Cena has. R-Truth and what he's done in 3 fucking days, 4 days, 5 days. He's had a better retirement tour than John Cena. I fully believe it so far up until this point. Anyways, I'm excited to see where we go from here, but I do think what this is going to result in, where this story goes, R-Truth in a rematch against John Cena for the title. And it's going to be interesting.
You brought something
but moving
up.
on to
Hold on. You brought something up that I want to touch upon. You said in this short span of R-Truth, I guess in a sense, kind of going heel, becoming his true self, he's already done a better job than John Cena's retirement tour. And I want to make it known that if you guys follow me on Instagram, when the R-Truth stuff happened, I was upset. Just like everybody else, I didn't see why. But I didn't see why in a different manner. And this kind of goes with what you said, I was upset that he wasn't even offered anything, because someone like him backstage, that mind is genius. That mind is meant for the business. So to not even offer him anything to educate the newer class was ridiculous. That's why I was upset when he got released. And this goes to prove, You just said it. In the past 3 days, he has done a better job in his heel/retirement tour than John Cena. You're telling me that nowhere in this company, nowhere Triple H, that mind had a space? That seems ridiculous. Now, he's not a Paulie that's going to turn, a nobody into a superstar, but he has so much industry knowledge that he can tap in and help your struggling superstars that you couldn't even find a space for him within the company. That's what upset me. So for you to acknowledge that he's already done way better than a John Cena in this short period of time with what he's cooking just goes to prove that this is a mind that we should have been keeping around, around, regardless if he was active or not. So I just want to make that clear. I wanted to make my thoughts clear on why I was upset with Ron, and I wanted to use your point as one of my points, because it is one of those things where this is someone who knows so much, that can adapt so well, that can teach our younger generation so much, and for us to have just let him go like that was unacceptable, and it didn't make any sense. So I am glad he's back, and I'm glad. And if it is a short run, like you say, if this is maybe towards the end of the year, maybe not even that, maybe the next 2-3 months after that, you guys should look at those avenues of giving him an opportunity to help the people backstage, because if you don't, you're definitely losing someone that could help out the product a lot.
Yeah, bro. TKO don't give a fuck about none of that. They saw how much they were paying R-Truth and said, "Get him out of here."
But that's the sad reality. That's the sad reality of living in a TKO era now, though.
100%. 100%. That's exactly why we're going back to Las Vegas for WrestleMania again. It is what it is. It is what it is. But no, I can appreciate your thoughts on that and why you felt so passionately about it. But TKO just saw the number. They say, "Yeah, brother, we're not gonna sit here and pay you that much money for what you do." And fortunately for R-Truth, he was truly beloved backstage and by the fans, and a combination of both, like you mentioned, must have brought him back. But he's back, and we'll see what happens with this story and where it goes. But we started the show. We started the show talking about Nikki Bella. I cannot miss another opportunity to talk about Nikki Bella. But she cut a promo here. It was announced. It was also announced, advertised, Nikki Bella would be making her return to WWE television. The last time we saw her was at the Royal Rumble of this year. I was of the assumption then when she appeared, I said, "Oh shit, she's back. She's gonna like wrestle again and shit." But no, it was just a one-off. I know you felt very passionately about that one. You did not want to see her on TV. I was cool with it. I was totally fine, but not after this shit. Not after the shit she did yesterday. But Nikki's cutting a promo. She's just again explaining how she's excited about Evolution 2 and how the first one went so well for the WWE. And she starts to thank the superstars that are currently wrestling. She mentions Rhea Ripley. She mentions, I think, Roxanne Perez, and then she fucks up Stephanie's name, Stephanie Vacquet, and she's going on, and then that's when we hear Liv Morgan on the mic. She says, "Hold on, Nikki. Well, I don't appreciate that you sat here. You come into my ring, talking about the women's roster, etc., etc., and you didn't mention my name. This is my roster. I'm the greatest wrestler, the women's wrestler of all time, etc., etc." And so they start to have a little bit of back and forth. Liv hilariously tells Nikki Bella that you're just upset because you don't have a championship and you don't have a man. And that shit, and they got a great pop. And Nikki Bella was going to leave the ring, but that's when Liv Morgan hit her with an oblivion, leaves her in the middle of the ring, and that was that. So Liv Morgan walks out, and it seems like again Nikki was there to promote Evolution. I can see Nikki Bella versus Liv Morgan at Evolution happening. I think it would be great for Liv Morgan, because she's gonna add a legend to her list of victories. Bro, Liv Morgan, the last 2 years, bro, she's been on a fucking tear, bro. Like, she's been on a tear. Add Nikki Bella to that resume, Hall of Fame career. Because Nikki Bella's a Hall of Famer, if I'm not mistaken. off of
Yes.
motion alone, off of sheer fact that Nikki Bella's a Hall of Famer, and this is gonna be like the evolution. If this one, it's not gonna main event. It's not gonna main event, but if it might main event, if Liv Morgan main events with Nikki Bella, no, she's a Hall of Famer instantly. She might be a Hall of Famer already. But how excited are you? How excited are you to see Nikki Bella wrestle again? Because this was gonna happen. She's gonna wrestle, and it's gonna be against Liv Morgan. And also following this, now there are reports that Brie Bella might be coming back to the
The
WWE.
better
We
Bella.
might get the Bella twins back on television. What if we get the Bella twins versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez? Listen, we don't. It would be cool, but it wouldn't main event. It wouldn't main event. The main event would be Nikki Bella versus Liv Morgan. That would be the main event, and that's what I would need. But
Yeah.
I'm tired of rambling. What are your thoughts on this match and in this little exchange between Liv Morgan and Nikki Bella? And do you think this will result in a match here between the two?
Well, I mean, I made it pretty clear at the start of the show. I don't think we need Nikki Bella back. I didn't think we needed her back at the Rumble. I knew that she, was itching for a comeback, and as of reports today, it seems like she might be sticking around for a bit. So I'm kind of shit out of luck on that. For Evolution, do I want to see Liv versus Nikki? For the reason that you said, yes. Like I think that it'll be a great notch under Liv's belt, especially following the past couple of years that she's had. But to be honest, I feel like this is gonna go just because it is Evolution, it is the all female pay per view. I think you're right. I think Brie Bella comes soon, and like I said earlier at the start of the show, we might be getting that tag match, and there's a chance that if that happens that they do put it on the Bellas just off of the same shit that some of my friends have been saying. They worked hard for where the females are at now. It'd be a shame if they didn't get to hold that belt at least once. I don't give a fuck. I don't think that they should hold those belt once. So whichever way it goes, I'm not too hyped about it. What I was hyped about was the fact that Liv came out and she was the one that interrupted Nikki Bella, because Nikki was in there, giving everybody props except for the one person that both you and me have been saying has held down the fort ever since, Rhea's injury. What was it, late last year or some shit like that? Liv took over the mantle when most of the big superstars were out with injuries, and she definitely made a name for herself. I was one of the fans that for the longest time didn't see anything in Liv. I had seen her down in NXT. I saw her career, coming up on the main roster, and just didn't see it. But with this new turn in Liv, she is one of those locker room leaders, whether people like to admit it or not. She's been primarily on our TVs for the past 2 years, and she really hasn't disappointed. Every time she gets in that ring, she just gets better. So
She's incredible.
I definitely felt like she was the appropriate person to come out here and interrupt Nikki Bella and talk her shit, because she felt disrespected for not even being mentioned in that. So good on you, Liv, because you are the one woman wrestler that has been killing it for the past 2 years, consistent. And I'm glad that you might get a shot at adding Nikki Bella on your hit list, because it is, like you said, it is a big name. It's a Hall of Fame name. So for them to give to feed Nikki Bella to her would be amazing, and I would love to see that.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be fucking great, bro. Listen to this resume. Listen to this resume. She's the inaugural women's crown jewel champion. Not that that really means much, but just the sheer fact. 2 times women's world champion, and she beat Rhea Ripley for one of them. She's a 4 times women's tag champion, a 2022 Money in the Bank winner. She's competed in all 8 of the women's Royal Rumble matches, and she has 6 elimination chamber matches. Nah, bro, she's incredible.
Mhm.
She's incredible. Good for her. Good for fucking her. Go beat Nikki Bella's ass, Liv. Please, please. Shit, make it a handicap match. Beat both of them. Beat Brie and Nikki. You don't even need Raquel. But I was just happy to see Liv get this spot here, because they hold Nikki Bella to a high standard. The people love Nikki Bella. They fuck with Nikki Bella. You know who they don't fuck with? Zelina Vega. But they fuck with Nikki. They fuck
That
with
was
Nikki
uncalled
Bella.
for. That was uncalled for.
They fuck with Nikki
The bitch
Bella.
wasn't even on TV this week.
It was not.
That's uncalled for.
She's not yet. She's not yet. She's not even in the tournament. They don't even got her in the tournament. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
No, they're probably gonna take that
Anyways,
belt off of her soon.
oh for sure, Julie is gonna go get that 100%.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind
Um,
Julia.
no, that'd be great for her. I'd love that for her. But speaking of championships, there's just
Yeah.
one last match I wanted to bring up. One last
Yeah.
match I wanted to talk about here. One of your favorite wrestlers, your theme song entrance merchant, Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso was main eventing Monday Night Raw against Gunther in Phoenix, Arizona for the World Heavyweight Championship. It had been announced weeks ago. That no matter what, whoever Gunther was going to be facing between the winner of Logan Paul and Jey Uso, whoever it was going to be, it did not matter. He had a championship match scheduled for June 9th in Phoenix, Arizona. He got that match against Jey Uso here. And Gunther, from the moment the match started, he was a shark that smelled blood in the water because Jey Uso made it apparent that he had a rib injury. So Gunther focused on that rib injury throughout the match. Of course, the match ended in a very strange fashion, in my opinion. It ended with about a 4 minute fucking chokehold experience where Gunther had Jay in the chokehold, choking him out, but Jay wouldn't tap out. Jay would get up, fight back, roll over, etc., etc. Gunther would fight back. There was even a point where Jey Uso had put him in a sleeper hold, and Gunther was able to fight out of it. Went back into the Jey Uso sleeper hold until again about 4 minutes where Jey Uso was just incapacitated. He fell asleep. He was knocked out. The brother was done. Ref called the match. We got a new champion. Gunther is our world heavyweight champion again, 2-time. And that was that. Jey Uso's title reign comes to an end after I believe it was around 50 plus days. I think he had about 3 title defenses here. Each ended in the result of some sort of interference and disqualification. Just an absolute here, man. Here. Damn. Title reign. But Gunther is now our champion. I know you're happy about that. I'm happy about that. Gunther is now again the world heavyweight champion. What was also interesting about this match was there was no Seth Rollins appearance. He didn't make he didn't come out with his briefcase at all. And this was where I thought we may have gotten a cash in because I didn't think Jay was gonna lose here. I wanted Gunther to win, but I just felt like it was going to be a cash in or Jay was going to win off some bullshit again. But luckily, thank the Lord, Gunther won. But even so, I did think Seth was going to cash in here. So I wanted to ask you, how did you feel about this match in Gunther and Jey Uso? Do you think this is the last that we'll see of these two go up against each other? And what did you feel about no Seth Rollins cash in or involvement with the World Heavyweight Championship here?
Well, I mean, I can't say that I'm sad, that Jay lost his belt. I feel like we've been saying this for weeks, and Gunther just proved it in one match. In no world was Jay ready to beat Gunther, and I think that the way that Gunther dominated on Monday is proof of that. They put the belt on Jay for their own, let's say, greedy purposes. And now that has fizzled, or now that they have a new top rank fucking merch sale, now they booted him off. Not only for that, but I know that there's a little bit of rumblings that there might be some, dumb shit happening over at Night of Champions with Gunther. So I knew Gunther was gonna win. I had a feeling. I was like, this is it. This is as far as we're gonna take the Jay storyline, because there wasn't really any point of having him win. The only reason to have him win is to probably solidify or to give us the illusion that he can beat Gunther. But we all kind of know and assume now that he can't. He can't cut a promo against Gunther. He can't, work better than him in the ring. So why the fuck do we have the lesser of the two holding the belt? It was only a matter of time, and I'm finally fucking glad that we took it off of Jay. Again, I don't hate Jay. This is not, you know, a deep hatred for Jay. I love Jay, but I saw it in him that he just wasn't ready, and I feel like a lot of people did, and they pulled the trigger a little too prematurely, and now we're seeing the consequences of that. So I'm glad that we have Gunther back in charge. I'm glad that Gunther is holding that belt again. For how long makes me nervous. It makes me nervous because, as I brought to you earlier this week, there's a little bit of rumbling saying that your boy Goldberg might be pulling up soon as next
My
week.
boy,
So
my boy.
your favorite boy, dude, Goldberg. So I don't know, man. It makes me nervous because I don't want this to be something where they just put it on Gunther for Goldberg to take it off of Gunther. But for now, I am glad that we do not have it on Jay, because if you were to tell me Jay versus Goldberg was going to be a match of Night of Champions, I'd probably fucking bash my head into a wall.
Goldberg. I don't think Goldberg's returning. Because I think he's too old and I think he's been hurt throughout this training process. I don't think he's returning. So I'm not too concerned about that.
I don't know,
I'm just
man.
happy that we have. I'm just happy that we have Gunther holding the championship again, and who he's gonna face at SummerSlam. Because the winner of the King of the Ring tournament, I believe, will be facing, probably gonna go on to face Gunther, not John Cena, unless it's Cody Rhodes or something along those lines. But speaking of the King of the Ring tournament, I have the bracket here in front of me, so I want early predictions on the next rounds here from you. We already have our first winner that moved on to the second round. Sami Zayn beat Penta, Braun Breaker, and Dominic Mysterio in a match this last week on Monday Night Raw. What is left here is Randy Orton, LA Knights, Aleister Black, and Carmelo Hayes in a fatal four-way to face Sami Zayn. Of those four, again, Orton, Knight, Aleister Black, Carmelo Hayes. Who do you have winning that match to go on and face Sami Zayn?
Damn, that's a hard one. I would assume that not even clear. I would assume that the majority of people would assume that Randy Orton's gonna win this. But seeing the four names on here, the one person that I would want it to just absolutely win it and probably go on to the finals of this would be LA Knight. We said earlier this tonight that he deserves bigger things this year, especially after once again losing the Money in the Bank. So maybe this will be it for him. So on these four, I think I have LA Knight. If not LA Knight, I would want to see someone like Carmelo Hayes, who has also had a phenomenal year. I would like to see someone like him progress.
Carmelo would be a good pick. I'm gonna go with Randy Orton here. I think it's gonna be Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton in that next round. Um, yeah, I think it's gonna be Randy Orton, and I have high hopes for Sammy here. On the other side of the
Uh-huh.
bracket, we have Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Andrade, and Nakamura in one of the other Fatal Four Way matches here. Again, Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Andrade, and Nakamura. Who do you have winning that Fatal Four Way to advance?
Damn, this one's another tough one. I would say that the safe bet is probably Rhodes, but I could see them giving it to someone like a Priest on this one. Andrade is
Don't
well
say that.
deserving, so is Nakamura, but I just don't see them giving it to one of them. I honestly think it'll come down to a Rhodes and Priest, and for all our sakes, I hope it's Cody.
Yeah, it better be fucking Cody. Um, if it's not Cody, then it better be Andrade, and I don't think it's gonna be Andrade, and it just better not be Priest. But I think Cody wins in the landslide. I'm not even worried. And on the last Fatal Four Way to advance, here we have Sheamus, Rusev, Bronson Reed, and a mystery opponent. A mystery opponent. Question marks here. You just mentioned it 10 seconds ago. You said there's a motherfucker named Goldberg. What better match to come out against Sheamus, Rusev, and Bronson Reed? Three big motherfuckers. Is this where Goldberg makes his return? And who would you have winning? Sheamus, Rusev, Bronson Reed, or the surprise opponent that has yet to be announced?
It really just comes down to the surprise opponent for me, I guess. Goldberg. If Goldberg gets put in that match, I'm pretty sure Goldberg's winning it. I don't know if it'll be Goldberg. I've seen a couple names being thrown around that I just don't think plausible either. So I'm kind of stumped on who the mystery person could be. So with just eliminating that on its own, out of Sheamus, Rusev, and Reed, Reed is kind of like entangled right now with his own storyline with his faction, so I don't know if maybe putting him in a position like this might be the best. It might clash with Seth Rollins going for a title belt or something like that. So I don't really see Reed winning this. Um, Rusev would be an interesting one just because he has returned and the crowd is behind him right now. But again, I think it would be a little too prematurely to have him, win the whole thing or even advance at this point. Sheamus seems like a solid pick because he is someone that we're trying to hype up to go for his final Grand Slam. I don't know how much time we have with Sheamus left. He also is someone that's getting up there in age. He is in phenomenal shape. He's returned to phenomenal shape over the past couple of months. So seeing him go for that Grand Slam within this year or maybe even early next year would be ideal. So I could see a win like this, even if it is just getting to the semifinals or the finals, would be a big push in the right direction for him and that goal. So I would say out of just the three, I think I got Sheamus on this one.
That's a really good pick. That's a good pick. I got Ilya Dragunov coming back
Woo!
and winning this shit. I think that's who it's gonna be. I'm gonna get my hopes up. Fuck it. I'm gonna get my hopes up. I think it's gonna be Ilya versus Cody after this match. I think it's gonna be Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton. I think that's what we're gonna get. You got Sami Zayn and LA Knight, and you
Mhm.
got Sheamus and Cody. Those are fair picks. Those are fair picks. I can appreciate that. But moving on to the other side of the tournament, the women's Queen of the Ring tournament here. Again, we already have one of the winners who have advanced to the second round. There was a match this Monday between Rhea Ripley, Kairi Sane, Liv Morgan, and Roxanne Perez, with Roxanne Perez coming out as the winner here, which is a crazy lineup to beat. I must say, she beat Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley and Kairi Sane as well to advance here. And then on the other side of that of this bracket, we have Jade Cargill, Michin, Piper Niven, and Nia Jax in a fatal four-way to face Roxanne Perez. Who do you have winning out of those four women there?
I think the safe picks here are the big names, right? I think Jade Cargill or Nia Jax are probably the favorites to move on in this position. I don't see Niven winning this. I feel like Niven is still a side character to Chelsea Green. So eventually they'll probably split them up and maybe Niven will go for a solo career. But for now, I just don't see her winning it because she doesn't have much of a solo career of her own. Honestly, though, if WWE wants to shock me, if WWE wants to surprise me, if they want to give Roxanne that solid match that'll make her believable going into the finals, I say give her Michin. Michin is one of those
Mm-hmm.
workers that whenever we call upon, she puts on a solid match. Some of her matches last year were some of the best female matches that were put on. And people don't talk about it because Michin just isn't talked about like that. But she is a phenomenal worker. So if you want to give Roxanne that match that'll make her more credible for winning the whole thing, then definitely give it to Michin. Like I said, I think the safe bet here is a Jade Cargill or even a Nia Jax, especially because Nia Jax has come back into the fold recently. But if you really want to give us a solid match going into this tournament, I would say put her up against Michin.
See, I agree with you because looking at this lineup, I saw Jade Cargill and I saw Nia Jackson. I said, nah, neither of them could go up against Roxanne because then like both of them just have to crush her. And
Yep.
I don't want that for Roxanne. I don't think Jade Cargill really needs to do that. I don't think Nia really needs to do that either. I think Naomi's still kind of intertwined with the whole Jade Cargill thing. She might come out, fuck around, distract Jade. And then in terms of Nia Jax, I'm sure something will happen there. I I, I think it's kind of crazy, but I could see Michin winning here too, just off the sole fact alone that Roxanne is on the other side. I just don't think Nia or Jay need to crush Roxanne. There's no reason. There's absolutely zero reason. But that's again, but that might just be the fucking case. They might actually just send Jade Cargo to crush Roxanne Perez. But I hope that's not the case. and I hope it's Michin for Roxanne's matchup's sake. And on the other side, we have Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Chelsea Green, Candice LeRae in the Fatal Four Way for a opportunity to advance to the second round of this tournament. Again, that is Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Chelsea Green, Candice LeRae. This one's also a very strong Fatal Four Way. But who do you have winning out of these four women here?
With no disrespect, I think I could eliminate Lorray off this right off the back, just because I don't think that she has kind of a fighting chance with the other three women in here. She is phenomenal, but I just don't see her in a prominent storyline that would make this make sense. Chelsea Green is, I don't know if her nose is still broken, but she can be returning from that broken nose injury, so she can make a strong case for herself, especially after losing the U.S. title belt. So she is someone that I can make a strong case for. But the two people that I truly have my eye on are Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I think personally, I think that Alexa Bliss makes it best. But if you want to give us a blockbuster match in that semifinal, you put up Flair, because the next couple ladies that we talk about are all perfect opponents for Charlotte Flair, and I would love to see her face each and one of these, if not in the semifinals of this tournament, sometime down the road. But Alexa Bliss is another one of those people that I would love to see all four of these other ladies go up against as well. Well, maybe not Rodriguez, but the other three ladies, 100%. You know, I think that either Flair or Bliss, Alexa or Asuka, Vaquer or Nile would put on a fantastic match. So just for this one, I'm gonna say Alexa Bliss is a sure shoe in for the semifinal.
I like that pick for you. I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna go with the queen for the queen of the ring advancement here. I'm gonna go with Charlotte Flair. Again, Candice LeRae doesn't cut it. Chelsea Green, she's just not gonna win this match, unfortunately for her. Um, it's really between Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, but I'm gonna go with Charlotte. And you already got started on the last fatal four way. You mentioned three of the four women, which I think is a little disrespectful because you could have mentioned Raquel Rodriguez,
I
but
mentioned her
I'm not
too.
gonna talk about
I mentioned her
it.
too.
We have Oscar, which is crazy. First of all, it's crazy because Oscar hasn't been on television in how fucking long, and we got a question mark for the men's tournament, but we couldn't get a question mark for Oscar. She couldn't get a surprise pop here. I think that's a little fucking crazy. And they didn't even mention that she was coming back. They just put up the fucking graphic. They said she's gonna be a part of this fatal four way. That's just disrespectful. Nah, that shit kind of pissed me off, bro. Anyways, we got Oscar returning in her return match versus Stephanie Vaquer, Raquel Rodriguez, Ivy Nile. This one I think is really tough because, I mean, it's between two people. But are you gonna have Oscar lose in her return match? And are you gonna have Stephanie Lee? Now I'm being disrespectful. And are you gonna have Stephanie lose following the weekend that she just had in a fatal four way here to advance in this tournament? Who do you got? I'm gonna let you answer that first. I'm gonna let you pick first.
Okay, so off the back, eliminating Raquel. I'm sorry, Raquel. You don't have a fighting chance in this match. Who does have a fighting chance against the other two ladies is Ivy Nile. I said this at the beginning of the year. I think that American Made is still, set out to do big stuff this year, and I would love to see Ivy Nile, someone that holds a belt. So if anything, this match is gonna, launch her in the right direction as well. So I think that she has a solid chance at potentially winning this. But you're right. I think that the two names that come into question here for who's actually going to go through are Oscar and Vecker. And you brought it up yourself. It's tricky. Do you want Oscar losing her return match? Not necessarily, but do you also want Stephanie Vecker losing another, I guess a gimmick match? Not necessarily. So it's kind of tough. Even if Vecker made it to the semifinals, and like you said, Flair makes it to the semifinals, that would be a tough one in itself as well. Who would you even have going over in that position? Because I'm pretty sure we know who we would have, but the WWE has other plans. So I don't know. This one's tough. I would have to say that just off of not wanting her to lose her debut match or her return match, I would put Asuka in that position.
That's a fair pick, but I'm gonna go with Stephanie Vaquer. I think we're gonna get Stephanie Vaquer and Charlotte Flair. I think we're gonna get Roxanne Perez and Michin. I think that's exactly what's gonna happen. You have Roxanne Perez and Michin, and then Alexa Bliss and Asuka, which is also fair. Which is also fair. This one is interesting. We're gonna find out soon. I must say, if you have any early picks for the who you have winning this tournament for either side, because I have one. I have one.
Or let me hear
I
both of
got
yours.
one pick. I just got the one.
Okay,
Hold
let
up.
me
I just
hear
got the
your one.
one.
Let me hear your one.
I got I got Sami Zayn winning the
Ooh.
men's King of the Ring tournament. I think he's gonna do it. I think he's gonna win. He goes on to face Gunther at SummerSlam. He loses. He goes on to win the Royal Rumble. And then he wins that bitch at WrestleMania. I think this is the
Okay.
year of Sammy.
I
I think this
think
is Sammy's year.
I think I have it in the same manner, but I got LA Knight in that position. I think if LA Knight makes it to the semifinals and he faces Sami Zayn, I think he takes the same route you just mentioned, but for Knight. So my pick for at least the men's is gonna probably early be Knight.
That's fair. But I'm hoping for my boy Sammy. I'm hoping for my boy Sammy. And I hope it's him. I think it'd be great. On the women's side, I have no pick here. I have no pick. My heart says
Hmm.
Stephanie Vaquer. My heart says Stephanie. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Stephanie. Fuck it. If it's not Stephanie and we get Michin versus Roxanne, it's gonna be Roxanne. Things one or the other. Do you have a one for the women? Early pick. Early pick.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just looking at it, even if I fantasy book it the way that I would want to, I still think Roxanne wins this whole thing. I feel like she has established her name long enough in NXT, and now she's making waves on the main roster. And I think it's time to give her something, um, to catapult her into that stratosphere. So I kind of see Roxanne winning this whole thing.
That would be great for her. Or Stephanie. I'm excited. This one's gonna be good. This one's gonna be good. Interesting enough. Um, but with all that being said, I know you wanted to quickly touch upon what you have going on, so I'll let you take the floor.
So, as you've noticed, we did not cover Worlds Collide on this episode, and that is because I will be covering it next week on King's Court. Seeing as this is one of the AAA X WWE promotions, I feel like that'll be better suited to happen at King's Court. But I did want to get your initial, maybe just a little bit of thoughts on each one of the matches that went on. I will save my ideas or my main thoughts for the episode of King's Court. But let's just go down the list real quick. Um, I am missing on my list the Mr. Iguana match, which was the first match on the night. So I just want to get your thoughts on, what you thought of Mr. Iguana. Was there anyone else in this a match that stood out? Do you think that our WWE superstars were able to hold their own within this pay per view?
I definitely think the WWE superstars showed out and showed up. In terms of the first match, we got Octagon Jr. to fucking face Dominic Mysterio. It was so the first match was Octagon Jr., Aerostar, Mystery Iguana versus Lince Dorado, Dragon Lee, and Cruz del Toro. Also, where the fuck was Joaquin Wild? Where the fuck was he? Where the fuck was Joaquin? Because why was Cruz there and Joaquin wasn't? I think I have questions. Where the fuck was his fucking brother? That's not cool. Like, what are we doing? Anyways, um, of this match, Mystery Iguana was the star of the show. The iguana puppet itself was also the star of the show. I had no real, I wasn't moved too much by it, but the fans were. They loved it. His merch sales went crazy on Fanatics. I would have thought that he would have got the opportunity to face Dom at the Money in the Bank match just with the pop he got, but they gave it to Octagon Jr. So I guess Octagon Jr., Pentagon, very similar names, very similar masks. Um, all in all, from this match, Mystery Iguana was the star of the show. My favorite of the six, I don't really got one. I was happy to see my boy Dragon Lee show up. That's my dog. He finally got some TV time. Octagon Jr. He was cool. He got to face Dominic Mysterio and get his ass whooped. So I thought it was a solid match. In terms of the second match here, I know you were looking forward to this one. Texting me all morning about it. I can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to see what we get here. We got Stephanie Vaquer, Lola Vice in a tag match versus Dallas and Chic Tormenta. I've never seen either of those two women wrestle. I have seen Stephanie and Lola Vice wrestle. I thought this match was a very safe match, a short one, nothing too crazy. We got the big pop, the duo Devil's Kiss between Stephanie Vaquer and Lola Vice. Those two ladies won the match. Um, Again, I thought this was short, a safe one because they knew they had Stephanie doing something crazy later on in the night. I think they wanted to take care of her. But your any initial thoughts on your match? I know you're gonna save your main points for King's Court, but anything you wanted to share?
Yeah, actually, something that the fans probably wouldn't even expect, because I've been shitting on her for like the past couple weeks. Lola Vice completely fucking wowed me this match. I think this is the first time I've seen Lola and actually became a fan of hers. I don't know if that was just the pressure of being in the same ring as Stephanie Vaquer, and then having two new people that they've never worked with in Delhi and Chica Tormenta. So Lola Vice was definitely one of those standout stars that night. Off of my question to you is off of Dalis and Chica Tormenta. These are two people that you haven't really seen much of. Was there one or the other that impressed you a little bit more, or someone that you're looking forward to seeing more within the WWE
Nobody I'm gonna be honest with you,
on this
nobody
one?
in
Okay.
particular. I did fuck with Chica Tormenta's gear. I thought her gear was dope. Her mask was great. Other than that, I was really just paying attention to Stephanie and Lola. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Fair, fair.
But I think that's what we were there for. But I enjoyed the match. It was a short one again. I think they were really trying to save Stephanie for later on in the night. The third match was Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Angel, and Berto versus El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown. I know this one was talked about a lot. I was very much looking forward to it. I think this might have been. No, I'm capping. I'm capping. Out of the tag matches, this was the best match. Out of the tag matches, this was the absolute best match. It's not even
Agreed.
close. And I from this point on in the pay per view first two matches solid, solid. But from this point on, from Legado del Fantasma until the main event, absolutely took off. Absolutely took off. Phenomenal on all fronts. On all fronts. I would love to see Psycho Clown a little bit more, maybe on NXT, and Pagano as well. I thought those two guys were great. And I'm just glad Legado del Fantasma was able to show out here. I think they had a blast, and you saw it in the ring. Any thoughts on any initial thoughts on your behalf for this match?
Yeah, I mean, Legato definitely showed out. They definitely came in there and handled business for the WWE, and it was quite the big business because you did have three of the biggest stars in AAA going up against them. El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. is someone that has traveled the world wrestling, so his technique is uncomparable. Pagano and Psycho Clown are two of the biggest stars in AAA, and I'm glad that you said you're looking forward to seeing more Psycho Clown because he is one of the few that Shawn Michaels picked up this week to go to start parading around on, whether that be the main roster or NXT. We don't know yet, but him and Mr. Iguana were two of the people that got signed this week, so we will be seeing a lot more of Psycho Clown. I am proud of everybody in this match, from Legado all the way to the people from AAA. La Raza really showed out, and they showed the world what we're really about. And you'll hear it more on my episode next week, but I'm very proud of everybody that was in this pay per view.
Yeah, it was fantastic. The next match was a fatal four way for the NXT North American. Ethan Page, Ray Phoenix, Javon Evans, and Laredo Kid. Javon Evans, my hats off to you, man. He did not belong here at all in this pay per view, but he got the job done. He showed out. Star of the show. Star of the show. This kid, I think he's like 21. Fucking crazy. He's incredible. Ethan Page retained here in a great fatal four way. I thought this was fun. Probably my third favorite match. I'm gonna hold the Legado del Fantasma match ahead of this one, just in the slightest of bits. But I really did enjoy this match. Fantastic win for Ethan Page. He continues to hold on to his belt. Javon, I could see him taking that belt off of him very soon. And Ray Phoenix was used here. I also thought it was interesting that fucking Penta didn't do double duty here, because Stephanie did double duty. Fucking
Triple duty.
Chad Gable did double duty. Um and so Penta not doing double duty here, like I would have loved to see Penta and his brother go up against the tag team here. Do you have any thoughts on that? Or do you were you cool with where Ray Phoenix was here on this card?
I think I was cool with Ray Phoenix being where he was on this card only because that match, the way that Ava presented it was she wanted one top superstar from each brand to be participating in this PLE on this match. So I know you said Javon's had no business being in this match. He in a sense he didn't. But in a sense, he did because I would say that he is one of those bigger stars right now that they're trying to pump out of NXT. You said it yourself. You could see Javon taking that belt off of Ethan. I can too. Um, will he? I don't know. I think that Ricky Starks maybe wins that back, and we get a match between Javon Evans and Ricky Starks, and that'll be a little bit more exciting. But Javon is headed towards a title opportunity, you know. So this match in general was very very fucking exciting, you know. Ray, you said it yourself. Ray Phoenix went in there. He did his shit. Javon Evans went in there and he had something proven. He did. Laredo Kid, he was there to show what Lucha was about, and I feel like he accomplished his mission. At the end of the day, Ethan Page did go out there as champion, and he went home as champion, and I'm not mad at it. I said it in my review last week. I thought that he was going to win through it being, you know, some cheating or some fuckery, and at the end of the night, he pulled off that win, and I'm not mad at it. Where they go from here, we'll have to see. I know in NXT, Ricky Starks came out. He's still injured. I don't know if it's in storyline or if it's real, but it looks like we'll be waiting for that rematch for a while. So maybe Javon does step in. Maybe Javon challenges Ethan Page soon for the belt, but we'll have to see. This match was phenomenal, though. These boys definitely went out there and killed it. Definitely a perfect pick from Ava for each of these men in this match.
And Pentagon should have worked double duty. I don't give a fuck. He should have been down there with his brother in a tag match against some sick ass tag teams, but he didn't want to do that. And I don't know, man. I find that shit. He don't really fuck with his brother, bro. I've been trying to tell you, he don't really fuck with his brother because
I
he
don't think
hasn't
it's
given him,
that.
bro. He hasn't given him the number to his tailor, bro. He don't got to do making him an ass, bro. No, I don't really think he fucks with his brother, bro. But that's just me. That's just me. The final match, probably my match of the weekend. Chad Gable versus El Hijo del Vikingo. 5 stars.
5
Easily.
stars.
Easily. Fantastic. Chad Gable, amazing. Vikingo, sensational. They were fucking, it was just a great match. I really enjoyed it. If you have 25, 30 minutes, replay this shit. It was incredible. And Chad Gable, for the bumps that he took here, I just don't know how he got up and he decided to wrestle a ladder match 4 hours later, because this was the main event of this show as well. He had only about 4 to 5 hours to recover and get back in that ring, and he did. Shout out to him. But incredible match. If you haven't watched it, I would suggest you watch it as soon as possible and watch it twice on Sunday. Incredible. But any thoughts and any initial thoughts on this match for you?
I'm gonna keep pretty quiet on this one. I'm gonna say a few things. Just 5-star match, completely amazing. Vikingo is a star, and they fucking know it, and they will be parading him like a star until they got their money's worth. Chad went out there and held it fucking down for the WWE. Both of these guys, I am fucking enormously proud of. You went out there and you showed what we're about, and you brought down the house. And I couldn't have asked for anything better. You and me talked about it a little bit earlier before we even got on, and we even said this pay per view might have been better than Money in the Bank. And honestly, I think was what was writing on it. That was their mission, and I think they accomplished their mission. They gave us a solid pay per view that honestly, I've already gone back and watched the second time, and I'll probably go back and watch a third time. So incredible pay per view. I'll be talking about this and a whole lot more on probably Monday or Tuesday for King's Court. I will also be giving, the fans the first piece of homework. It'll be, including a match towards the end from Stardom that I've been pretty high on for the past couple of weeks. But you'll all have to wait for all my details on Worlds Collide and that match until next week.
Again, just a great match, one that I cannot recommend more to watch. But all in all, you said it. I do think this pay per view may be better than the Money in the Bank pay per view itself. I'm excited to see what else comes of it. What other worlds collide moments we have. If there's going to be, I'm sure there will be a pay per view again in the fall where the WWE collabs with AAA again. Maybe even TNA AAA, TNA AAA WWE will be the next one. We will see. Um, but great pay per view on all fronts, and MVP Chad Gable. Shout out to Chad, El Grande Americano. But with all that being said, please make sure you check out King Jess's King Court next week when that drops. We'll make sure you see that on all the socials. But that concludes this week's episode of the Word Around the Ring podcast. Thank you all for listening. If you haven't already, please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us across all of our social media platforms, including Instagram, X, and TikTok at the Word Around the Ring podcast. We will see you all next week. Thank you for your time.